So Select Board meeting of Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. And we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Adoption of the agenda. Additions, omissions? Nothing, Christie?
No, all
I
set.
don't think so. Public comment? No?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does anyone else feel?
Once, twice, going.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I'll take it, Kevin. Sure, Pete Nikitas, Bailey Island, with some comments around FRPC. Courtesy of my time in town, volunteering at the Orson Bailey Island Fire Department, and as volunteer and board chair, I'm familiar with the conversation here in town. I listened to the July 16th meeting of the FRPC, and I would tell you that's a group that just doesn't get enough recognition. They don't get enough praise. They don't get enough acknowledgement. They're made up of the leadership from 3 different fire departments, very, very, very different people, very different philosophies. Sometimes they're competitive, sometimes they're territorial, but on July 16th, they got together and quickly, unanimously identified that fire coverage in the town of Harpswell has, and you should all listen to this YouTube, by the way, it's on the town's website. Fire coverage is at a critical point of failure, and the word emergency was used. And the solution that they've framed is an expansion of existing coverage to 24/7 coverage, which I think is absolutely the right move. They're to be congratulated for that, because I think there's a lot of pride in that group that's operated as volunteers for 50 years now, and they're coming to the town and saying we need to expand the town's support of what we do, and I hope we're able to do that. During the meeting, the question was asked, if we were to go to 24/7 coverage, would those folks work out of Orson Bailey? And there were 4 responses. One was yes. One was we don't have consensus. One was I don't support 24-hour coverage until we go till we finish the new station. And the 4th was we can't get involved in another project right now because it'll distract from what we're doing with the new station. And I felt that was a little out of character for FRPC, because their history has been to find a problem and tackle it immediately. When they wanted to go to paramedics, they framed the solution. Let's get 24-hour paramedic coverage, hired without delay. I'm told that sometimes they slept on cots here in Town Hall until we got the building next door squared away. They wanted daytime coverage, hired without delay. They wanted to expand it from 5 days to 7 days, hired without delay. Now we've reached a point, and as a volunteer, I can tell you we are at a critical point of failure. This is a present emergency, and I'm not sure I understand the benefit to the townspeople of taking the solution and tying it to some date in the future that we can't identify. We're going to continue to have structure fires at night in Harpswell before we start that building and before we finish that building. And I think there's a path forward, which is my second comment. Going back X number of years when everybody was anticipating this day, there were some folks on Orr's Island. They just happened to live on Orr's Island. They could have lived in the Cundies. They could have lived in Harpswell Neck. It was Phil Taylor and his people thought, what should we do to prepare for the day when we need more help from the town? And with the town's partnership, with the town allowing some funds to flow through the town to the project and some money that the department put up, they renovated the 2nd floor, and there were 2 bunks, 2 baths, kitchen, dining, day room, gym, and it's almost like it's been marking time until we got to this point. So I think that rather than, I'm not saying that the select board wants to wait, I'm asking for the select board to work with FRPC to see kind of the vision here. Maybe the messaging could be, we've got the new place underway, we're in a current manpower crunch, we have a workaround. 10 years ago, we helped OB. We recommend that we go to 24/7 coverage without delay, and they can begin working out of Orson Bailey. And the moment the new building is completed, whenever it happens to be, we'll transition up there. I think these folks have worked so hard for their lives, living in the town of Harpswell, to get fire and rescue to the 1-yard line. That one comment at the meeting threw me a little bit, and I think it may have been made in the sort of fog of war, and I'm hopeful. Kevin, you invited them to come to the September budget cycle or whatever, prepared to talk about funding for 2027. Whatever back-channel conversations take place, I'm hopeful that the select board can work with these folks and say there's a really good reason for us to take a current problem, which is an emergency, meet it today. We know how to hire firefighters. We've been doing that for over 10 years. We don't have to have a new program. We just continue the program that Christie administers, that Frank administers, and get the issue in front of the townspeople. Let them make the decision about whether or not they want 24-hour coverage. Stop. Postscript. There was a fire on Bailey Island when I was still involved. I drove to the station, grabbed the tank truck, which was I was supposed to do, followed the first dude truck to the fire, parked where I was supposed to park, began doing what I was supposed to be doing, got overwhelmed with this building on fire, had never been to a fire alone before, couldn't sort it out on my own, and a municipal guy happened to be walking by. He's one of our paramedics, but he's a full-time firefighter, and he said, that goes there, open the valve. I could have got someone killed that night. That's why I left, because I know I don't have the experience, and I don't have the talent or the experience to do this. Were it not for a skilled municipal firefighter walking by that night, I could have caused a real problem for people. We need to go to 24/7 for the 2027 year. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else in public comment? Nope. Selectmen's announcements.
Just watch for events coming up for the 250th in the next couple of weeks.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think every Harpswell taxpayer hopefully knows that the town has been going through a revaluation over the past year, and they recently received in the mail their updated proposed valuations for 2026. I know some of these letters were returned to the town because we didn't have updated addresses, so we do hope that people get in touch with us because it's their responsibility to provide us with the correct address. There has been a 2-week period of people contacting the company that has performed the revaluation. People have been coming into this office, making these appointments, either by phone or in the office, I should say. And I think most people are getting a better understanding of how the company approached the revaluation, using market sales to determine what the new valuations would be. For some reason, I think it was circulated online on some social media platform that the town expected its mill rate to be $14. And that, I don't know where that came from, but we're looking at potentially a $5 or less, potentially, mill rate. So 2025 was $6.66. It's definitely going down, potentially below $5. So that was information I wanted to communicate and try to clear up for people. I would encourage people to contact our assessing office. You know, they may have questions. It's getting difficult now to make changes, but potentially within the next day or two that could happen. Otherwise, once the select board accepts the proposed valuation figures, tax bills will be based on those valuations. People still have an opportunity to go through what's called the abatement process, and they can present their information and make a case, and potentially there could be changes after that. So I just wanted to make, you know, that kind of general explanation that somehow people were very concerned that the mill rate was going up, and that's certainly not the case. And I think another point that people have been wondering about is whether or not we create some type of surplus, and that's definitely not the case. We are bound to pay the school budget, the county budget, and the municipal budget, and those are approved budgets. Town voters and in Harpswell approved the municipal budget. SAD 75 voters approved the school budget, and then the county, the budget is approved by the county commissioners. So we don't have any ability to change what's been approved. I would say the only area that the select board gets to weigh in on, and this is allowed under law, is they get to choose the amount that goes into the overlay. And typically when a community goes through a revaluation, That figure is generally a bit higher because there's an expectation that there have perhaps been some mistakes and there will be some corrections, and the board is allowed to use that money to reimburse people if they are approved for an abatement. So we're really locked in. There's no surplus that we're trying to put together on the basis of this revaluation occurring. So I just wanted to clear that up.
For anybody listening who has got a letter, go to the town website, go to the assessor's office, click down, you see property cards, and that'll take you to the link, and then you just type in your address, your name, and that'll show you your assessment. There were a pile that came back. Change of address, whatever, but there was a stack about 6 inches thick of letters that came back.
Oh.
So, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is all public information. You can look up your own assessment. You can look up your neighbor's assessment. You know, it's all out there for everyone to see. And of course, the assessing office can kind of walk you through how these determinations were made. But I would recommend the company Vision also, you know, if you were able to make an appointment. I've heard that they give very good explanations about how they arrived at those proposed figures. Again, I think the market values in Harpswell are driving a lot of these increases, and it's obviously difficult for us to see some of those numbers, but they are relatively real on the basis of this analysis that's been done. So that's my spiel on the revaluation. I do want to ask the select board to hire John Warner, or I should say rehire John Warner. We've had a difficult time finding an employee for the recycling center for our seasonal position. He was willing to come back after his retirement, so I would recommend that you rehire him for $23 per hour.
I thought we did that already, but I so move.
I second it.
Well, I think this is the first time you've had a meeting since we
Ah,
discussed that happening.
okay.
So thank you.
He's already working, so.
That concludes my report.
All in favor? There we go.
Thank you.
Consent agenda.
I move the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. I accept the Nature Conservancy's donation of, what was it, like $1,300?
$1,300 and a little bit
In
more
lieu
from
of-
the
in lieu of
Nature
taxes.
Conservancy.
Which, by the way, they're not required to give us any money
I
at
know.
all, so that's not bad.
Right, we'll take what we can get.
Bowdoin College mentioned that to me a few years ago.
Yeah, I bet they did.
In the authorization of the warrants.
I'll second that.
All right, no discussion, all in favor?
Right.
All right, wharf applications.
What are we doing first?
We have two wars. Tim with the town. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first one is 59 Dowdy Point Road, map 42, lot 36. We had two site visits there, one with the planning board and one's with the regular codes office at low tide. It is in the VE 12 zone. There were a couple trees that needed to be cut. They were a hazard to the bank. If they were to go, they would take the bank and the wharf in the future. Other than that, there was some discussion of some grass, but the wharf itself is so high it does not impede on any growth or what have you with the grass.
I had no problem with it.
No, I don't either.
Nope. Good? All right. I move to approve the application as the harbor master indicates there's no hazard navigation and no injury to rights of others in relation to fishing, fouling, or navigating.
The second.
All in favor?
Our second wharf is 28 Field Road, map 63, lot 77. It's also in the VE 18. We had many site visits there with planning board and just normal site visits. The wharf does abut right up to the lot line, has been the most controversial part of this wharf. I believe the abutter and the wharf owner have come to a newer agreement by a letter from an attorney. So until that is totally settled, my recommendation would be to wait. But other than that, it has passed all of the other approvals with planning board and other site visits.
Under the sideline setback, the consent form says no. I mean, so it has not been,
That's, was always the part between the abutters, you know, because it's right on the lot line.
right, right.
And there is no room to move it. So it's more of a legal thing and that's why I'm concerned about where it is at.
Well, I wouldn't be inclined to approve it without that letter.
Okay.
I'm recusing myself from
Yeah,
this
I
matter
understood,
and
yeah.
moving,
Yeah.
just so there's no.
I mean, if that letter is forthcoming, I would,
Yeah, it's
Let's see it.
forthcoming, I guess. I'll let Tim address it. Tim Forster from Sky Flycatcher.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Force with Flycatcher here on behalf of the applicant. So the application before you is just for the ramp and the float. The wharf itself has already been approved by the planning board and the selectmen. There's history there, so I won't go into that. But the wharf size was reduced to keep that portion of the dock within the applicant's property. And the proposed ramp and float extension is no more or less conforming than the existing structure. So, you know, if we're right on the line with the pier, but the ramp and float branches off, and it is no closer than what's already permitted.
no, I see the corner of the wharf has been cut off for that bit.
Yep.
But there's a 25-foot setback for these things, and in no way does this meet that.
Yep. So the other part about the neighbor who originally was in opposition to the structure, those two are trying to work something out. But, you know, I think as I mentioned to the code officer, until the ink's dry on the paper, you know, they want to proceed with what they have now. If they can come to an agreement, then they would come back and modify that.
But I was curious why they didn't want to wait until the whole thing was put together. I think Denise relayed that to you yesterday for me.
Correct. And the reason being is if it doesn't come together, then they're just, you know, that's going to take time to sort out. And they've made it this far. They've been approved by the planning board. They've been approved by the selectmen prior to. They just want to finish and have what they have before you today. And if they can come to a resolution with the neighbor and get that sorted out, then they would come back. And really all that is for the wharf portion. The ramp and float would still land in the same spot.
I'm going to say again, I'm not inclined to approve something with a promise that there will be a letter coming. I would like to see, I would like
We're
to
not.
see,
But, right.
Yeah, we're approving what has already been approved. It might change if they make a deal with the neighbors.
wait,
But
And if that
Wait.
change happens, then we would
Then they
come
come
back.
back to us again.
is there a 25-foot setback? Has it been met?
It has not because it's an existing grandfathered structure.
Okay, so that part of the wharf is,
Right.
Is
And,
exist-
and the point we were trying to make is that the ramp and float extend out into the subtidal resource. So
Yes.
you extend your riparian lines, and I don't believe the town has any jurisdiction over that. You're into waters of the state of Maine.
you're correct, right? Yeah.
All right, so Matt, I'm going to make a motion that will open it up for discussion. All right. So I move to approve the application as the harbor master indicates there's no hazard to navigation, no injury to rights of others in relation to fishing, fouling, or navigating.
And I'll second it for discussion.
Right? Yep. We're open for discussion now.
Matt Gilly, my family is the abutter to the east. A couple of things. Parking is a concern. There's no parking there. It will block the road, so if we're permitting a commercial wharf and float, there should be parking, I believe, that goes with that, and I don't know where that's gonna be. And I believe that this will interfere with fishing. There's been pogies caught in the area in years past. I've spent the better part of the last decade of my life advocating for the fisheries, and that's what I've done, and I'm here telling you that this is not something that's gonna benefit the fisheries or fishermen in any way, shape, or form. And I don't need to say anymore, you guys have heard me enough.
Thanks, Matt.
So there isn't room for parking next to that little building that's there?
Do you have any thoughts on comments on parking? Yeah. So the applicants say that there is room for to park one vehicle there. I don't know that parking is in the jurisdiction of fishing, fouling, or navigation, or rights out there that the board has jurisdiction over. In terms of fishing, fouling, navigation, people catching pogies in there, it's a very low tide. It's tucked into the head of the cove. We did work with the Harbor Commission or the Harbor Board to modify the anchoring system. So we shortened the chains, we got rid of the blocks, we're using helical anchors, so any gear sits flat on the ground. If someone wants to come in there in a boat, they're only in a few feet of water, and the float's not gonna have any impact on that. Thank you.
Yep. Did you second it, David?
Yeah, I seconded it.
All right.
To further talk about your parking, I believe for commercial, it had to be within 500 feet, which their house, a part of it, if you use their circumference, does land within 500 feet.
Okay.
It's not a
Still
direct
planning board,
walk,
Board of
but
Appeals, so I'm good with it.
Yep, yep,
All right. All in favor?
all right.
All opposed? All right.
And one abstention,
Well, he recused himself.
yeah.
He recused himself earlier.
Thank you for the parking explanation, I didn't realize that.
yeah.
All right. Presentation of a story map explaining the future floodplain risk study.
You know how to chair one?
Oh, where'd
I
he
think
go?
Mary Ann's gonna
Oh,
introduce
she's-
him.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
I just got him hooked up and
Oh, thank you.
changed the chair settings so that he can hear on, it's not easy to find on.
I'm glad you did what you did.
Good evening. I'm Mary Ann Naif, Chair of the Resiliency and Sustainability Committee. I would like to take this time to introduce.
Pull that mic down a little bit so you can, there you go.
All right, I think we're on.
That's better.
I'm being very careful. I have another mic here, and I don't want to have any feedback.
Put it in your pocket.
Okay. I'm going to start from the beginning here.
There you go.
And in 2025, the town received a grant to do this study, to check flood risk. As part of that project, Stantec Engineering was hired to perform the study. And I left my notes inside. Earlier today, the engineer came down with a workshop and explained the intricacies of the study. But basically, it is to be able to tell sea level rise in various parts of town, pretty much pinpointing your neighborhood if we need to. And it's going to talk about 4 feet and 8 feet of rise over various time period scenarios. Catcher is going to explain, and actually to make this more usable by the public, because not only can it be helpful to the town in planning, it can be helpful to residents if they're considering changes to perhaps their road association, if they're considering updating their roads. It is going to give information not only to that, to the planning department. We have areas of marshes that are going to migrate. This is going to be helpful in maybe thinking about how we might want to handle development in the future in that area. At any rate, this all is very complex, and Catcher Kemmerer is our Bowdoin fellow who is here this summer. He has worked on the map with Stantec, and he's going to present that now. with the ability to show you how it works. And he'll take it from there to show us how it simply can be worked. And Catcher, would you like to come here and do that? Thank you.
So I guess hold on, there we go. One of the ways that we're hoping to release this mapping tool is a fairly straightforward interactive website called a story map. And so we just received the final maps from Stantec on Monday, so my focus since then has been on migrating these very large files over to an online platform where we can put it into the story map. So we're probably going to make some revisions to the actual text of the story map and the layout over the next couple days in the town planner's office, but hopefully by the end of the week we should be able to release this story map to people to look at with no major future changes, although my vision for this website is as a document that can be a bit of a living document where if you do have suggestions as to how we can make this tool work better for you, Codes and Margaret will be happy to address those, and it may evolve even further. So just some introductory text at the beginning, a bit of an explanation of sort of the broader recent history of resiliency and efforts when it comes to flooding that the town has embarked on, including the recent letter of map revision that the town was able to procure from FEMA that was adopted in 2024, I believe. Just some bullet points as to why we think this tool will sort of be able to help you in new ways that build upon, that expand upon the efforts that the town has undertaken with that letter of map revision and its other resiliency efforts. And then below that, we'll have explanations of some key terms related to the study, as well as some step-by-step instructions on how to navigate the maps. And I can walk you through sort of how one would go about using this tool. So the home page will be set to the present-day sea level rise 10-year storm scenario. Basically, Stantec produced 9 maps which illustrate different intersections, essentially, of possible sea level rise and then the severity of the storm surge based on annual occurrence interval. That is basically how often we would expect a storm like that to take place. So a 10-year storm we would expect on average to happen once every 10 years, although it over the course of a shorter period of time could occur multiple times over the course of 10 years or not at all. And so you can, again, I've been working up to the minute on migrating the maps into online and making this tool presentable. So hopefully this menu will look a bit more user-friendly by the time that we release this to the public, but you can scroll to the side to see all of the other scenarios and click into those. If you want to look up a particular property or a particular place, whether that's where you work, live, a place that's meaningful to you, you can use this search bar. So I'll look at Mackerel Cove Landing, for example, and a pin will show up at the place that you've searched, and you can further sort of zoom in and look around at the
It becomes an island.
information. You can turn it on and off the various layers that Stantec has produced that correspond to particular sort of flooding metrics. So like right now, we're looking at the wave run-up hazard. Again, these terms are explained in the glossary of key terminology. Stantec touched on them in their workshop earlier today, which I don't know if that was recorded, but we are hoping to host some future workshops moving forward on this tool, so don't worry if you missed that. Anyway, this legend up here will sort of give you a sense of what you're looking at when it comes to what these colors specifically correspond to. Yeah, I mean, that's the gist of the tool. Below, what I'll be working on tomorrow, just a little slider tool that will help you compare the new maps to the existing FEMA maps with the ones that are effective after the letter of map revision, as well as just to help you visualize like how different side by side some of these storm scenarios might be. Again, I guess when you click between scenarios, my goal is, and again, this is something I'll get to tomorrow, to make it so that it will stay zoomed in at the same place that you are viewing it, but I don't believe that is, yeah, it's not going to work that way right now, but that shouldn't take too long.
It will.
Well, yeah, now I've jinxed it, but yeah. Does anyone have any questions about this? I'm sure there's stuff that I did not touch on, but again, Stantec went into a lot more detail during their workshop earlier today, and we're hoping to host some future similar events, yeah, where we can get
I'm
more
sure once
people
I've taken a closer look at it, I'll probably have some questions.
Yeah.
I think it's been a great overview, Catcher, and I like the way you've done the story map, and you've
Yeah.
given people a lot of context, too, so I think it will be helpful if people
Yeah.
take time and look at it on the website, once it's
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah,
To roll out.
one other thing I'll
Getting
add.
close.
Yeah, one other thing I'll add is the initial text that I produced for the story map. I ran it by the town planner, Margaret McIntyre, and the feedback that I received was that it read like an excellent academic report, and that was the last thing that I wanted to hear. So we've been working on significantly restructuring the story map text so that it's as accessible as possible and user-friendly as possible. But one thing that we will be doing with that sort of more academic report style language is putting that into a final report which will have a lot more detail. If you have questions that aren't addressed in the story map, chances are that they'll be addressed in that final memo. That won't be out immediately, but hopefully at some point in the relatively near future.
Great, that
Great job.
Yeah,
looks great,
thank
by
you.
the way.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Margaret McIntyre, Town Planner. I just do want to say a big thank you to Catcher. He's been working really, really hard on this GIS mapping portion of the project. Obviously, typically Amelia would be here to support us, but in her absence, a lot of it has really fallen on his shoulders, and he's risen to the occasion. And we are really excited to get this product out there for everybody to be able to use and learn and plan with. So I'll let you guys all know when that's live on our website.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm sure Amelia's home watching right now.
Yeah, I hope that she's having a great time and that we're in capable hands without her. Thank you.
All right, we're good with that. Streetlight request change form.
Yes, so this request came before the board recently. I believe it was delivered in June. It was submitted by Jeff Sumner, and I do believe he's online, so he may want to speak tonight, Margaret, if you're letting people in. He lives on 19 Little Island Road. There is a street light that is on that road that the town of Harpswell pays for. And he and his neighbors, I think there's at least 2 others impacted, or maybe 3 others, impacted by the light, and they do not feel it's necessary for them to have this street light on Little Island Road. The town of Harpswell has a policy that the select board adopted. It was first adopted in 2010, it was revised in 2012, and again in 2015. And essentially, there was an area, I guess, that said that congested areas having speed limits of 25 miles per hour or lower should be lighted where absolutely necessary based on evidence of pedestrian traffic on or near the roadway. I think that they don't find that it's absolutely necessary in their neighborhood. We don't have speed limit, we don't have lights on many of our 25 mile per hour areas. So it does seem as though this falls within your consideration,
Yep.
that you could consider removing it, and you may want to hear from Mr. Sumner.
In the meantime, I will say that I wrote this policy, by the way, and I visited the site today. And Little Island Road, you guys are familiar with that, does fall within it's 15-mile-an-hour road. But what we have said, it should, doesn't say must, and it's up to us. And I frankly don't believe there's a one on pole 2 as well, in front of the old fire station.
Yep.
And I talked to a couple people in the neighborhood there, and they don't think it's necessary. The one on pole 2 is necessary either.
Well,
So
is that a
I'm-
motion?
Yeah, I move that we take both of those out, 2 and 4.
I'll second that, because it seemed like the neighborhood, everybody that utilized it didn't want it, so.
Right.
I will say I contacted Cumberland County Sheriff's Department to see if there was any accident data on Little Island Road in the last 5 years, and there was not.
Yeah, it makes it
So-
even easier.
I can imagine there isn't. There is on the old fire station, there's a motion detector light anyway, he said, so,
Is it?
yeah. So I said, don't worry about it.
We need a vote or a consensus.
You need to vote.
All right,
on-
all in
on
favor?
And you're removing 2, is that right?
Yeah, 2 and 4,
Right.
pole 2 and pole 4.
So did you call for the vote?
Yeah, we all
I did.
voted in
Oh,
favor.
sorry.
You got to pay attention.
I'm
We move quick.
thinking of the next item.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Amendment of the two emergency services agreements.
Yes, so recently we were reviewing our services agreements with the 3 departments, and we realized that there was some language in the Orrs Bailey Island agreement regarding the fact that the town provides this advanced life support service, which is the paramedic service, that we are purchasing vehicles, and there's some other language, I don't have it right in front of me at the moment, but we realized that was missing from the Harpswell Neck agreements and from the Cundy's Harbor agreement. So we are recommending that that be updated to reflect the same language.
Well, it should be uniform, right?
Yeah.
I move that we accept the language.
All right, I second it.
Any
To
discussion on
modify both of those agreements
Yeah.
to include
Yeah,
that
that's the same,
language.
yeah.
Thank you.
this? No discussion, all in favor?
Great.
All right. That's that. All right, Harpswell Community Broadcast Corporation Capital Equipment Request. Excuse me.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great summer. Donna Frizzoli Chipman, here to talk about the equipment grant funding that we received at town meeting in 2023. And we would like to spend an additional $26,609.40 on 3 pieces of equipment to finish what we started in the studio.
I'm gonna go back to it's not even an argument, you know, I wanna know what the end game is. You know, I heard a rumor you want to retire soon.
Well, I am trying to retire, yes, but I'm
But-
not moving away. I'm
But-
still here,
But
and,
you hear my butt, though.
yeah.
Like,
We have
Okay.
2 people, 2 very good people who have applied for my position.
Yeah, but
And
what I worry, if something happens to David or something happens to you, it collapses.
Well, I honestly don't see that happening because we've hired, I guess I'm too close to this microphone.
You are.
We've hired a station operator because Dave was a volunteer station operator, and he just went through his first trials with the FCC, and we got an A+ rating from them for the TV station and a certificate of compliance for the next 3 years.
So, the operator's working now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, Dave is still volunteering, so he comes in when he can, but yes. And it's Jim Babarski who has taken on the station operator position,
Which one?
the elder.
Senior.
And he's doing a
James the elder.
fantastic job, I have to say. He can fix just about anything. Because we operate with, sometimes I think chewing gum and duct tape. But we've, been doing this for 26 years, and I just received an email from somebody on Monday, as a matter of fact, who, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for us, but he's cut the cable and wants to continue watching Harpswell Community TV live. And he doesn't want to watch it on YouTube. He doesn't want to watch video on demand. He wants to watch the programming that we've been putting out for the last, since I've took this job on. And if, that the money was approved at town meeting in 2023, and we are halfway there, and if we don't get the rest of this equipment, we're going to have equipment that we purchased already that we really can't use. These 3 things are replacing this. They're upgraded equipment that we purchased in 2012 that has worked for us since 2012.
How much, this is for 26,000 and change.
Yes.
You've spent other amounts from out of that 40,000 already, haven't you?
Yes.
Will this be the end of that 40,000 after this purchase that was authorized?
I don't know how to
I
answer.
think there's 4,000 left.
Okay.
Could I just ask Select Board Member
I'm just
David
asking a
Shipman?
question.
I know, but would you disclose?
I guess there's
are you the
4,000
president?
left.
But would you disclose if you're the president of the organization that's
idea.
being discussed?
You just did.
No, but I would like it to come from you because I'm reminding
I'm
you
the
that.
president of the Harpswell Community Broadcasting Corporation.
Which is why I'm here to present. I'm the station manager still. We have 2 applicants for my position, and we're looking them over. They're both very good, and a lot younger than I am, so hopefully they'll not get so, I've been doing this for 26 years without having a vacation. I don't know if any of you have ever gone this long without having a vacation, so I'm a little burnt out. And I bet if I got 2 weeks off, I would be right back to the person that I was, but I can't seem to get time off. So I have decided to retire and have the board find somebody to fill my shoes. So,
Yeah, well, I guess where I'm at now, we already started spending the money that was allocated, and it'll be useless unless the TriCasters are on these other things, so.
Well, I mean, part of this money was supposed to be funded through the franchise agreement, which has yet to be signed, to my understanding.
By the way, you guys should take some interest in this. I've been trying to push for it. Christie's been pushing for it.
So,
also, I don't mean to I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do want to put in your mind that also the town had money for the meeting room right there, also from the same franchise fees, from the same,
Could I just?
it's not our fault that the town hasn't followed through to get the contract signed.
I just want to clarify a couple of things. So there was a warrant article in 2023, and it authorized the use of general fund balance of 90,000, 50 for the town, 40 for community TV. And there was a note that said, we expect to be reimbursed once we sign a new agreement, 10,000 per year from Comcast. It is true that we have been in negotiations with Comcast for several years now, and for more than several years. And I reached out recently, and they told me they've gone through some major restructuring, and they will get back to the town in the near future. It's been very difficult to get them to respond to our franchise requests, but the 90,000 is coming from the town of Harpswell's general fund balance.
But, and as in the position we are in now, because you have upgraded your equipment in the media room, we are having problems working with you guys. And it's not like people don't watch television, because they do watch television. And, you know, and I don't know what else to say. We're requesting the funding, so it's up to you, I guess. And if you can go against a town vote, I guess that's your prerogative.
What are the reasons that you're having problems with the equipment in the media room? Is it because that equipment's too new, or?
Our equipment at the TV station is 12 years old. Now, we did just get a new server, and because I'm looking to retire, I have been not wanting to learn a new piece of equipment. So my assistant is learning the equipment, and she's ready to go. So we're working now with the company that we worked with to make sure that they can give us a channel guide, because that's what I hear the most problems. The most complaints I get is from people that say, we don't know what's on. Can't you give us a channel guide? So that's what we're working on now, so that we can give people a channel guide so they know what's playing when.
All right, well, I'm gonna make a motion that we, give them the $26,609.40 for the TriCaster media switcher, TriCaster switch controller, and the Walbert Quad video monitor. I have no idea what any of those things are.
Okay, the TriCaster switcher, that switches between the cameras, and it sends the information to a computer so that we can capture the video and then put it into post-production. The TriCaster switcher controller is all the knobs and stuff that is on the board, so that you can switch between the different feeds coming into the TriCaster. And the monitors, there's 4 monitors, and that's so we can monitor each of the feeds that come in to the TriCaster when they come in. So we know that it's working, and we're going to get the feed we need.
Once you get all this equipment, do you think that will resolve the problems that you're having with the media room, or do you feel as though there's other issues beyond just this equipment?
I honestly think that once we get the new server up and running, that will really solve the problem. This is so people that can come into the studio and use it and make programming. I have the Historical Society asked me if they could come in and interview some of the elder people in the community. I guess Davey told me that there was somebody that's like 95 years old that he's really anxious to interview. Hal wants to come in and do cooking programs and other kinds of things. And we've really been behind the eight, I don't want to say behind the 8 ball, but we haven't been able to use the studio in so long that it feels like that we need to really get this back up and running, because we're letting people down. There are a lot of people that, Matt, you were in the studio, and I had to use my own camera to film you because things weren't working there. So now we have the cameras, but we don't have the equipment to work with the cameras. And that's what we're asking for now. And we did go back and we were able to save a couple $1,000s on the TriCaster, so it's less than what we had anticipated. So, that's why there's $4,000 left, because we were able to cut the price.
Will the town own the equipment?
Yes.
I'll second Kevin's motion I will agree with Kevin's reservations. And even expand upon them. I have concerns about the end game, as he said, and I also have concerns when it comes to fundraising going forward. I'm hopeful that this budget season, when you guys come back, that you've been able to fundraise more, because I am not keen on funding ACBC 100%, as we have done in years past. I don't believe it's in our policy, and that's why I have some reservations passing this funding forward, but why spend it if there's no fundraising that's happening behind the scenes, you know?
I have been working.
Hang on, let me finish. But that being said, this was authorized, as you said, by the townspeople, and I'm certainly not gonna go against the townspeople. The only thing I'll say to that is, I think that this was somewhat dependent on us getting that Comcast agreement sorted out, and I think I think some of those issues are with Comcast, and I think maybe some lie here with us as the town, but I have a lot of reservations. and
Understood.
concerns.
I understand where you're coming from, and I have worked really hard with the board to push them to do some fundraising, and all of my suggestions at this point have been blocked because we need to do this first, we need to do that first. And so I just sent out another email tonight with another idea for using the channel to fundraise. And I don't want to go any further than that at this point, because I, again, got another roadblock, which I hope I've, argued well enough within our policies and procedures and our bylaws and all that other stuff, so they understand that this actually could work for us.
Maybe it will be helpful if they rewatch this meeting and they see
I
that
hope so. I asked them
board
to come.
is
I asked them
adamant
to come.
that
Nobody's
some
here.
fundraising take place.
Could I just make another point too? Because we have been asked for your minutes from your board meetings. And do they exist? Can we make them available to people? Will you make them available to people? And I think you should speak at the podium if you're going to respond,
Well,
because
no,
you're not speaking as.
I told you who our secretary is, and you know who he is, and you
Well,
you were
your
going to contact him.
organization has
I
been
will
asked directly for
contact-
them, so when they don't,
Well, I don't know if we've been
Okay.
asked directly for them,
So if
but
I
I will
reach
talk
out-
to our secretary, who takes excellent minutes, and see if he can,
and if they could be provided to
don't
the
meet
town
very
on a
often,
regular basis.
but we don't meet once a month. We meet, sometimes we've only met once a year because we had nothing to talk about, really.
But we can get
There's
the
a lot
minutes
to
from
talk
your
about now.
secretary.
Now there
We've
is,
got a lot
you're
to talk
correct,
about.
you are correct
Yeah.
there, and I've been pushing for monthly meetings, and I hope that the board will agree.
And
So would
Maybe
I
you do-
contact Don Miskell? I'm sorry.
I will
I
contact
just
Don
wanna-
Miskell and ask him to send you
To
our
provide the
minutes.
town with the
Yes.
minutes from the last year or
Okay,
two.
okay.
yeah,
I will
okay,
talk
thank
to him
you.
about it, Christie.
he takes minutes at lunch.
Yes, he does.
Not
He
wrong.
does such a great job. He's such a
does.
nice person. Anyway,
All right. All in favor? Attaboy.
thank you very much.
And I recuse.
One recused. All right. Thanks, Donna.
You're welcome, thank you.
You need new blood on that committee.
What's that?
You need new blood on that committee.
We do. Yeah.
I'm serious about the fundraising, or this is all null and void.
Well, hold on. I'll get up here and talk. Put my other hat on. Dave Chipman, President of the Harpswell Community Broadcasting Corporation. We need to get one of those things on the end of this mic here. So at our last board meeting, I made it very clear that we need to do this. And I think by the next time we come before the Budget Advisory Committee, we'll have some of those answers. We have an awful lot of opportunities to make money with our channel. We actually had somebody who plays the Lionsgate. You've probably heard of them. They play old movies. They came to us and wanted to rent a sub-channel of ours because we reach into Portland. So, those kinds of opportunities exist just from the transmitter. But we've also talked about a fundraising letter, which everybody does that. So, and underwriting on our programming. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities. So we did talk about that, and I made it very clear that we need to start moving forward on this. We've been depending on the franchise fees. Now the franchise fees have dropped below our operating money. So we don't want to cause, we don't want to use tax money for this. That was never our intention. So we need to fill that gap with something, and we know that. So we're working on it. And we need to get a thing on the end of that mic.
All right. Back to public comment. Anybody? You could have done it in the beginning, you wouldn't have to wait.
Well, I wanted to bookend Pete, so.
Oh, I'll get double whammy, I like it.
That's right.
And we'll play it.
Thank you, sir. So Sean Hall, Orr's Island, just like to speak to what Mr. Nikitas brought up at the beginning of the meeting. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Orrs and Bailey Island Volunteer Fire Department, and I also have the privilege of being one of the town's municipal firefighters. And I believe my position and having a foot in both worlds kind of has given me a unique perspective as to, you know, what we need in town with respect to emergency services and kind of the direction that we're heading. The discussion of 24-hour coverage has been raised, and it was spoken to at the Fire Rescue Planning Committee, as Mr. Nikitas mentioned. I also was a little taken aback by a suggestion that we wait until the new building is constructed before we even consider the 24-hour coverage. I've got two folks on the board here who are, have spent a lot of years on the fire department, and as you know, most of our fires occur at night, and we're not staffing that. 2 weeks ago, we had a structure fire in Harpswell Neck, and only one person from Orrs and Bailey Island responded to that and ended up driving water shuttle. We had 2 people respond from Cundy's Harbor as mutual aid for that fire. Only one of them was able to go interior, and that person ended up picking up water supply. So you had the individual from OBI and the individual from Cundy's Harbor, both interior certified, that couldn't go to work or grab a nozzle on the fire because they were handling water supply. So I think we've been fortunate with respect to hiring firefighters for the town staff who are using this as a supplementary income for their main jobs as municipal firefighters for Bath, Brunswick, places like that. So we have a lot of experience, and I would just encourage the select board to, I guess, catalyze the conversation with the Fire Rescue Planning Committee on expediting the 24-hour coverage. I think the thought that it needs to wait for a structure to be built and to house the firefighters doesn't do anything to mitigate the immediacy of the staffing shortage that we have and that we're facing. Orrs and Bailey Island has 23 people on our roster. Not all of them are interior qualified folks, but when we had the structure fire, only one of them showed up. So that's all I have.
Yeah. Well, I don't normally respond to public comment, but I will tell you that Frank's been looking into salaries, from other departments. We're looking into it, but as you heard before, we have to ease into budget committee,
Right.
and it's not gonna happen overnight. And there's only one or two people that wanted to wait for the new building,
Yeah.
I think when a full consensus, it'll probably go up the other way, but
Yep.
I guess.
Understood.
But, it's just starting to be talked about in the last 2 meetings, so I'm sure tomorrow it'll be the topic of choice.
I'm sure it will be.
Yep.
All right.
I
Thank you.
usually don't respond either, but I wanted to say thank you
Yes, sir.
to you and the other, I can't remember his name, the first gentleman that spoke for.
Oh, yeah.
I'm probably not as in tune to fire and rescue as maybe I should be.
Yeah.
So when you folks getting up and saying stuff like this brings it to light for folks like myself, so I appreciate that, and I think you bring up valid concerns that will need to be looked at sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. And Cundy's Harbor is accepting applications.
He lives half a mile from the
Yeah.
fire department.
time?
You'll have to shave your
I
beard.
don't know where I'll slide in.
You'll have to shave your beard, though.
No, you can drive-
No, I don't know about that either.
you can drive a tanker.
They won't let me drive anything if I shave the beard. They'll think I'm 12.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ellen Glue, and I'm from Great Island. And Sean's one of my mentors, so I've learned a lot for the last year and a half. I have been on the board of OBIFD, and I'm also on the Strategic Planning Committee. And I just want to underscore also, I think staffing is one of our most critical needs as far as fire and rescue goes. I'd ask the board to actually work with the FRPC to come up with a plan, a real staffing plan, not just for the current issue of the 24/7 coverage, but beyond that. We know that we're not alone. Every department in the country is facing a difficulty with recruiting and retaining staff, whether it's equipment operators, drivers, or firefighters. So I do hope that the 24/7 coverage will be made a priority and not tied to the opening of the central station, because we don't know when that will be. But I wonder if there is an update on that. I sat in as Christine's rep as the VP on a couple of the sessions about the central station, and I understand at that time when I was serving in her place that the Department of Environmental Protection certification is a major piece of, allowing the critical path to move forward. And I think the other item is some of the site issues, water, whatever. If we could get an update on that, when the fire station is expected to be started and completed. Anyone? I know you're on the committee,
Yeah,
Kevin, maybe.
We're meeting tomorrow. We'll have a new update
Oh,
tomorrow.
you're meeting tomorrow?
We do.
Okay.
All of the meetings are on our YouTube channel, so.
Yes, I
Okay.
watched the one that
Yeah.
Pete Nikitas was talking about.
Great.
So that's good. I'm
Yeah,
glad
so
they're available.
the Fire and Rescue Planning Committee meetings and the Building Committee is on YouTube.
Oh, both of them?
Yes, so all of those
Oh, okay,
meetings you
good.
can
Thank you.
watch.
Good to know.
Great.
1:30 is the planning committee, and 3 o'clock is the,
Okay, the
With the
back-to-back,
architect and right behind
as they were then. Okay, thank you.
Margaret McIntyre, Town Planner. I just want to follow up with our conversation about the drinking water and septic study that we talked about at your last meeting. I just want you to know that the survey is live. I haven't, I'll work tomorrow with Terry to send a notice out to all of the town subscribers. So anyways, I'm excited, and I'll make sure that it gets out to everybody.
Margaret, what's the end date for the survey? I mean, when do you consider it finished? Or it's ongoing forever?
I don't think that we have talked about when we would close the survey, but I do think that we need to do a lot of public outreach. We'll get in hopefully, we'll send out some postcards to all the residents, we'll get in the tax bulletin, and hopefully get a lot of publicity, and there'll be an article in the Anchor coming out as well.
The reason I ask, one of the questions, I want to have my water officially tested, so that I can put that in the survey, so.
Yeah. I think you have a lot of time.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah,
we could always probably change, I don't know if we can go in and edit your answers, but
All right.
I bet somebody could.
Okay,
the company in Auburn, AAA,
we'll figure it out.
Chemical AAA does water testing.
Yep, yep.
Anybody else for public comment? No? Other business?
I have one quick thing I want to mention. I had a constituent come to me about Mitchell Field. Two things, the porta potties, she thinks are disgusting. There's no opportunity to wash your hands. I mean, it's just, and they're not pumped. And another constituent, second person, said they're not pumped out. And she complained about the getting down to the shore. She said it's not good for people who are, she didn't figure that she had good enough legs under her to get down to the beach. There should be a ramp or something. I think we could improve that path, widen it, and shallow it out, put some crushed stone in it.
It's your committee.
I think we could fix it. Yeah, I will talk to them, so. But it may involve some funds, so I'm just telling you, heads up, so.
Other than that, any other business?
No.
Nope. All right,
Nothing.
we're adjourned.
Okay.
Who's that?